Thank you. Good morning again, my fellow clubbers on Toastmasters. It was a pleasure to be here on the real stage for once. Yes, today as an evaluator, I'm going to introduce the first speaker, which is Tiffany Gunter. And today she's going to deliver a icebreaker, but in reality, it's not the very first speech because she's been at Toastmasters in Colorado since 2019. Therefore, it's an icebreaker. It's an opportunity for Tiffany to introduce herself for the first time to this amazing club. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the real stage Toastmaster Tiffany Gunter with the speech titled, "See You Later, Alligator."
One of my first memories was when I was 5 years old. I went bounding into my backyard and I startled a 5-foot American alligator. It slinked into the water. It was the first alligator I'd ever seen, the first of many. If you were born and raised in South Florida, as I was, you know that amphibious reptiles are never very far away. When you live at the bottom of a peninsula, that's just how it goes. And I was raised in a house on a canal in Margate, Florida. Margate is named after the Margate fish, and South Florida is the fishing capital of the world. I spent 23 years in the same house, often sitting next to the canal fishing for minnows, crayfish, catfish, crappie, brim, Oscar, gar, and bass. I used a casting net, a cane pole, a rod and reel, a plastic cup, or my own bare hands. And Dad was the one who taught me how to clean a fish because he caught more than he could handle. And every so often, I had to help my father put up hurricane shutters. The worst hurricane that I ever lived through was Hurricane Andrew. It was a Category 5. We categorize our hurricanes 1 to 5. Floridians with a Category 1 are kind of like this. And a Category 2, a Category 3, a Category 4, and a Category 5. Has anyone seen my house? But the hurricanes never really seemed to startle the wildlife. And on my canal, I caught all kinds of species like turtles, beetles, grasshoppers, tadpoles, frogs, toads. I would sit and memorize what they looked like, and I would memorize how they moved. Once, our family took a trip to the Florida Keys, and that is where I saw my first Florida manatee. The Florida manatee used to be an endangered species, but we Floridians made a lot of headway and we worked together. And now there are so many manatees in Florida that you can come and snorkel with a manatee with me. And I've done it with my daughter twice. I highly recommend it. I feel connected to our waterways and our animal life here in South Florida because I spend so much time on that canal in my house in Margate. I fed the ducks. I chased the snakes. I pointed at the iguanas, and I watched the ibis and the anhinga and the great blue heron birds forage and fly. Boaters would pass by my backyard, and eventually there were just no more alligators in our neighborhood. But they were still in the Florida Everglades, which is where my brother was an airboat tour guide. When he would take his guests on tours, he would tell them that in the 1960s, alligators were hard to find because they had been poached. But they're an endangered species success story. And therefore, I feel grateful that I get to see them in my lifetime. Once, my nephew held an alligator egg as that baby alligator hatched in his hands. Mama alligators take really good care of their babies, and the babies grunt to communicate. A baby alligator grunt is one of the sweetest little Florida sounds that there is. It is so cute. I learned a lot of alligator facts from my brother, who's 12 years older than me, and he was there for my surprise 16th birthday party at the house, and then again for my surprise 17th birthday party at the house. My only two surprise parties in my life were those 2 years back to back. And around that time, the Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup, and I was gifted my first hockey jersey. Eventually, my parents sold the house, but not before my mom gave me a graduation party and an engagement party. And I brought my son back to that house when he was still in diapers. Well, my dad also had a cabin on Lake Okeechobee. So I was still able to show my kids some alligators in Lake Okeechobee. At night, you just see a pair of eyes floating in the dark. Here in Florida, you're just never that far away from an amphibious reptile, I'm telling you. Oh, I did live in Colorado Springs for 20 years. Nothing interesting happened there as I can recall. So moving right along. When I returned to South Florida, I was just in time for Hurricane Ian, and I ended up getting my dream job. It's the perfect job for me. I get to tell people all about Florida and alligators. I am now a tour guide, just like my brother. I will be leading kayak tours in the Alligator River State Park in Miami. And guess what? One of my coworkers spotted in the water the other day, besides a dolphin, a pufferfish, a spotted eagle ray, and a hammerhead shark. Guess what my coworker saw in the water?
An alligator.
Good guess. But you know what he saw? It was an American crocodile, which is an endangered species. It's a whole new chapter of my life. See you later, alligator. Hello, crocodile.
Can we all please stand up as Tiffany is giving her icebreaker?
Oh.